Have you ever walked away from a chat with a stressed out friend and just felt completely wiped out, like you just ran a marathon? Or maybe you've walked into a room and bam, this wave of sadness hits you, even though you were feeling fine just a second ago. For years, you've probably been told, oh, you're just highly sensitive, or you're just a very empathetic person. But what if that's not the full story? What if what you're really experiencing isn't a superpower, but a system overload? Let's get into it.
So this is the big idea we need to start with. That feeling of being an emotional sponge. It's not a sign that you're more connected than everyone else. It's actually a sign that your neurological system is missing a critical filter. It's causing you to experience other people's feelings as if they were literally your own. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why this uncontrolled mirroring leads straight to exhaustion and burnout. But way more importantly, we're going to give you the tools to build the emotional boundaries you need. Not so you can feel less, but so you can finally, clearly feel what is truly yours.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll tackle the empathy paradox, why your greatest strength feels like your biggest weakness. Then, we'll explain your own experiences through the lens of neuroscience. After that, we'll map out the invisible loop that keeps you stuck. We'll get into the science of it all, and then, the most important part, we'll get practical and start building your filter. And we'll finish up by showing you how to reclaim that sensitivity as the true superpower it was always meant to be.
So let's just jump right into the central irony, right? You've probably been told your whole life that your sensitivity is a special gift, a superpower. But if that's true, why does it so often feel like a total curse? Well, the reason for this paradox is actually pretty simple. A superpower without an instruction manual, or in this case, a neurological filter, isn't just useless, it can be really destructive to the person trying to use it.
This question really gets to the heart of it all. See, true healthy empathy shouldn't leave you feeling depleted, it should connect you. Think of it this way. It's the difference between seeing someone drowning and jumping in to drown right alongside them versus standing firmly on the shore and throwing them a life raft. If your empathy leaves you drained and anxious, that's a huge red flag that something's not working right. You're not just understanding their feelings, you're involuntarily taking them on. And that's where the exhaustion begins.
All right, so in this next part, we're going to connect the dots between how you feel and what's actually happening in your body. We're going to link those everyday struggles, that mysterious fatigue, the sudden mood swings, directly to the wiring inside your brain. Because this isn't some vague personality trait. It's a predictable, measurable brain process that we can actually understand and influence.
Do any of these sound familiar? That deep, chronic fatigue that just doesn't go away, no matter how much you sleep? Those sudden mood shifts that come out of absolutely nowhere? That feeling of being totally swamped in a crowd, like you're being hit by all these invisible signals? Or what about taking on a friend's anxiety like it's contagious after just one phone call? And maybe the most confusing one of all, just not being sure what you are actually feeling versus what you've picked up from other people. These are the classic signs, and trust me, you are not the only one feeling this way. So what's going on in the brain to cause all this? Well, meet your Mirror Neuron System, or MNS. These are amazing brain cells that are designed to help us connect with each other. They fire when you do something, but here's the crazy part. They also fire when you just watch someone else do it. It lets you feel a little spark of their joy or a pang of their sadness. Now, for an emotional sponge, your MNS is basically hyperactive. It's like the volume dial is stuck on 11. It doesn't just give you a taste of their emotion, it forces your brain to sync up with theirs intensely and automatically.
And this right here is the root of the whole problem. Because that simulation is so intense, so automatic, your brain's logic center, the prefrontal cortex, it just gets steamrolled. It completely fails to do its main job, which is to tell the difference between what's you and what's them. It can't draw a clear line anymore. This is what we call boundary failure, and it's the neurological source of all that chaos you feel.
Now, this boundary failure isn't just a one-off thing. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that runs on autopilot in the background of your life. And understanding this loop is the absolute key to breaking free from it. This is the invisible engine that's been draining your battery day in and day out.
Let's walk through it. First, the trigger. Your sensitive system picks up on an emotional cue. Could be a friend's anxious voice or just the tense vibe in a meeting. Second, simulation. Instantly, without you even thinking about it, your hyperactive MNS mirrors that state inside you. Third, overload. This is the critical breaking point. The simulation is so strong, it just overwhelms your rational brain. You mistake their feeling for your own. Suddenly, you're the one who's anxious. You're the one who's sad. And fourth, reinforcement. This is the sneakiest part. By taking on their feeling, you get this brief illusion of control, which actually eases your own anxiety for a second. Your brain learns that absorbing the emotion is a quick fix, and that's what makes the exhausting habit stick.
This is a classic example of what's called negative reinforcement.
The reward isn't a good feeling, it's the temporary removal of a bad one, that awful, helpless feeling you get when someone else is in pain. By absorbing it, you feel like you're doing something, but it's a terrible trade-off. You're sacrificing your long-term energy and your well-being for a tiny bit of short-term relief.
Okay, now we're going to dig into the deeper science that really unlocks the solution here. Because the secret to breaking this loop and building your filter lies in understanding a really important distinction. There isn't just one kind of empathy. There are two, and you've been relying way too much on the wrong one.
So look at this. On one side, you have affective empathy. This is the automatic, gut-level feeling with them. It's run by your limbic system, the emotional, reactive part of your brain. It's super fast, super powerful, but also super draining. This is the one that leads to absorption. On the other side is cognitive empathy. This is the conscious choice to think about them and understand where they're coming from. It's run by your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain. It's more deliberate, it saves energy, and it's what allows for real compassion without the burnout. The problem isn't that you have too much empathy, it's that it's out of balance.
Mentalizing is just the fancy word for using your cognitive empathy, for consciously stepping back and thinking about someone else's emotional state as separate from your own. When you don't do that, when that cognitive filter isn't switched on, the raw emotional data from the outside world just bypasses it. It flies right into your emotional centers, making it impossible for your brain to tell that it didn't start with you.
And all this constant emotional flooding has a real physical cost. It's called allostatic load. Basically, it's the wear and tear on your body from being in a constant state of low-grade stress. This is what can lead to things like chronic inflammation and a weakened immune system. It's why being an emotional sponge doesn't just feel exhausting, it is physically damaging over time. All right, we've diagnosed the problem, we get the neurology, we get the cost. Now for the empowering part. Building the solution. These are real, science-backed tools you can use to start building that missing filter, like right now.
So how do we actually do it? How do we stop that automatic cycle and get our thinking brain back in the driver's seat? It's not magic, it just takes intentional practice using a few specific techniques. Let's get into the first one. This first tool is a physical one. It uses your body to calm your brain. It's called the detachment audit. The second you recognize that weird emotional shift, you start. First, plant your feet flat on the floor. I mean, really feel them there. This simple act sends a signal up to your brain that says, I'm stable, I'm grounded. Then you consciously notice and name 3 non-human things in the room: a lamp, a picture frame, a chair. By doing this, you're forcing your brain to switch from feeling to observing. This re-engages your prefrontal cortex and reminds your whole system that you exist, safely, right here, separate from whatever emotional storm is happening over there.
Okay, tool number 2 is a mental one. This is about training your prefrontal cortex to do its job. First, you have to pause and ask yourself the most important question. Is this feeling actually mine? Then, play detective. Trace it back. You know, I felt totally fine until I read that text. Or, my mood changed the second he started talking. And finally, you reframe it. Don't deny the feeling, just acknowledge it and give it back to its owner. Wow, this anxiety is strong, but its source is external. That one thought is a powerful act of building a neurological wall.
This third technique, shielding, puts it all together. First, identify the feeling. Second, assign it to its source. This is their stress, not mine. Then you consciously shift your role. This is the active switch from that draining affective empathy to the useful cognitive empathy. You stop being a co-sufferer and become a compassionate observer. And finally, use this mantra to lock it in. Their pain is not my responsibility to feel. It is my opportunity to help. This completely redefines your job in the situation, from passive absorption to active, bounded support.
And that brings us to our final and most important reframe. After understanding all this, we can stop seeing this sensitivity as a curse. It has always been a strength. It was just a really powerful tool that came without the instructions. Now you're learning how to use your empathy with skill, not just for others, but for yourself too. I really want you to let this sink in. All those years of being exhausted, of feeling overwhelmed, of thinking you were just too sensitive, it was never because you were flawed. It was the totally predictable result of having a high-performance perception system running with any controls.
This is the truth you can carry with you from now on. You have a finely tuned instrument for understanding people. Your job isn't to turn it off, but to build the filter that lets you use it without it breaking you. The techniques we talked about, grounding your body, questioning the source, shifting your role, those are the pieces of that filter. So if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this simple phrase. This is your new mantra. The next time you feel that wave of someone else's emotion coming at you, don't just brace for impact. Pause. Ask the question. And remember that your job is not to feel their pain for them. Your real power is being able to stand strong in your own center, recognize where their pain is coming from, and from that stable, grounded place, offer real, sustainable compassion. That is how your empathy becomes a gift for everyone, including you.